Good morning, students, and welcome to the class of English. English teacher Pankaj Singh Thapa, is in front of you again with the summary of a new and very interesting poem. And the poem's name is Children, an elementary school classroom in a slum. Now, if we talk about elementary school, the children elementary school is basically from the classes 1 to 5. All right, and if we talk about a slum, so slum area children means area which is inhabited by poor people, exactly very poor people. Okay, so if an area gets inhabited by very poor people, it's a slum area. All right, so children, the Stephen Spender in this poem portrays the life of the people and basically the life of the children who study in an elementary school in a slum area. If we talk about Stephen Spender as a poet, so he is an English poet and an essayist. He left University College and of Oxford without taking a degree and went to Berlin in 1930. Stephen took a keen interest in politics and declared himself to be a socialist and pacifist. Pacify means children to just make a person agree with your viewpoints. That is pacify. Now, books by Spender include Poems of Dedication, The Edge of Being, The Creative Element, The Struggle of the Modern End, autobiography, World Within World. In an elementary school classroom in a slum, he has concentrated on themes of social injustice and class inequalities. The children of an elementary slum school look pathetic and miserable. So, children of elementary school classroom have been portrayed in a very miserable state, in a very pathetic state. They have pale faces. Their disorderly hair look like rootless weeds. All right. Now, this rootless weeds, some kind of opposite thing is there, children. Now, weeds. Weeds are unwanted grass. Okay. If I say weed, so weed means unwanted grass. But how can a weed be rootless? So it is something to be noted down. So we must assume that they were unwanted people of society, and along with being unwanted, they had no roots. They had no future. They are stunted figures with twisted bones, narrating disease of their parents. They belong to the dirty world of crammed holes. The map of the world on the wall symbolizes the world of the powerful, rich, and important people. The gap between the two worlds can be abridged if these children are removed from their dirty surroundings and made to enjoy fresh air and have physical as well as mental development. Now, children, here I am just summarizing the poem, all right? And I have discussed the stanzas also of this poem in my previous video, so you can go to my channel, children. And if you want to understand this poem stanza wise, so there it's the right place. Here I am just summarizing the entire poem in one go. All right. Children, the children of an elementary school classroom in a slum look very pathetic and miserable. They have pale and lifeless faces. Why? Because they get food very rarely. They get food for only one time a day, something like that. Their disorderly hair and are torn around and look like rootless weeds. They are depressed and keep their heads down. They have stunted growth. They inherit the diseases of their parents. They do have dreams. A sweet young boy is sitting unnoted at the back of his dim classroom. See, now the description of the children starts here. So a sweet boy was sitting, okay, at the back of the classroom, and the classroom did not have enough light. It was dark, and that small sweet boy, was unnoted. He is dreaming of squirrels' game in trees and of other interesting places other than his dull and drab classroom. What all other things are there in the classroom, children? The gifts given as donations and the pictures of Shakespeare's head are hung on the unpleasant, creamy walls. So, as it was a primary school, basically owned by the state government, and these schools, they don't have enough resources that they can modify their school as compared to the private schools. So these schools are in a very wretched conditions. All right. Now these schools, what the walls contain, the names of the persons, those who have donated for a school. Like if someone has donated fan, someone has donated tube light, someone has donated a chair, someone has donated a desk, something like that. And one more thing was, that is head of a Shakespeare, half painted on a paper. And the walls of the classroom were unpleasant, creamy. Creamy means dirty. But these are useless to these unfortunate children. In the morning, the sky is cloudless, and domes of the institutional civilized world shine in every city. So, the slum area is next to multi-story buildings. Got the thing, children? The slum area is next to multi-story buildings or skyscrapers. And what happens? Those skyscrapers appear to be the roof or domes, and that roof is of civilized world, which is above the slum area. But still, the people of slum area, the children of slum area, are of that kind. So are they in the Tyrol Valley. Music of bells and fragrance of flowers pervade there. The map of the world is made and reshaped by the people in power. Now there is one map of the world map also on the wall. Now that world map and picture of Shakespeare, these are useless for the children of slum. Why? Because whatever world is there, it is the world of rich, powerful and influential people. It is not the world of poor. So the world map which was hanging on the wall, it was useless for these children, as the head of Shakespeare was. Why the Shakespeare was useless? Because what the elementary school children will do with Shakespeare? They don't have enough money to purchase the food for even one time. So what good is a Shakespeare for them? Alright. So these are the things. Now, one Tyrol Valley is there, it has been portrayed, and music of bells and fragrance of flowers prepared there, and the map of the world is made and reshaped the people in power. But for these children of a school in the slum, that world is meaningless. Their own windows are dirty, unpleasant surroundings form their world, and the fog of uncertainty dominates their future. They are doomed to live in narrow streets close to the bluish grey sky. Actually, bluish grey sky is lead sky. Maybe there could be factories and industries and smoke, and all the dirt gets space into the slum area. So the slum area was filled with dirt only. The world of the children is far away from rivers, caves, and stars. Shakespeare is of no interest for them, nor the map of the world does them any good. This map shows a world which is not theirs. Their world is full of attractions. There are beautiful ships, warmth to the sun, and love. They entice these children. They are tempered to steal them away by running away from their miserable surroundings. They live in their narrow, crowded holes or lairs. Okay, so their houses, or what to say, houses, thatchy roofs, and still crumbling down. Although the roof is thatchy and the walls of the house are crumbling down. Now, still, the slum people have to live there. Their life is uncertain, and it ends with the endless night of their death. So, what is the night for these children? The death is the night for these children. On the heap of the waste, these small children wander with their bones peeping out of their skins. Wearing spectacles of steel with mended glasses, they look like pieces of broken bottles of snow. All the time and space is spent in these dirty and foggy slums. These slums are nothing less than living hells. Actually, they are a blot on the civilized world. The world of the rich and the great. The map of civilized world and slums of these unfortunate children are two entirely different worlds. Governors, inspectors, visitors, and other important persons must abridge this gap. They must peep into the world of the children living in the slums. They must make their own world the world of these slum children too. Actually the children, if I talk here, what actually the poet wants from us? All right, this question is many times asked in the exams. So the map of the civilized world and the slum of these unfortunate children are two entirely different worlds. Means the civilized world is different and the world of these children is different. So if the governors, inspectors, visitors, and other important person, they come there and abridge this gap. Okay, so they must patch up this gap. They must peep into the world of these children living in their slum, and they must make their own world the world of these slum children too. The unsuitable environment of slum has blocked all their gates to progress. They are lying shut in the catacombs. Catacombs children means underground graves. These obstacles should be broken. Everything that binds them should be broken. And they must be allowed to breathe in the open air. They must be allowed to come out of the narrow lanes and fill these slums, the town. Let them enjoy the beauty of the green fields. Their world should extend to the sky blue waves rising from over the golden sands. Let the pages of wisdom be open for them. Let their tongues express themselves freely without any check or fear. And only those people make or create history whose language has the warmth and strength of the sun. In the last line, the poet wants to say that children, only those persons create history whose language is of the sun. Means those who get energy from sun, those who get inspiration from sun, they people only create history. That's all, children, in this poem. I'll discuss some important questions. In the opening stanza, the imagery is that of despair and disease. Read the poem and underline the word phrases that bring out these images. So, what all phrases are there which signify despair and disease? So, children, number one is rootless weeds. All right, the air turned around their pallor, the tall girl with their weighed down head, the paper seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted unlucky hair of twisted bones, gnarled disease. So, children, these are the phrases which tell us about the despair and disease. Now, why does Stephen Spender use the images of despair and disease in the first stanza of the poem, and with what effect? So, he uses the images of despair and disease to describe the miserable and pathetic lives of the children living in slums. The faces of these children are pale and lifeless. They and their hair are like rooted weeds. The burden of life makes them sit with their head weighed down, and the straitened growth is depicted by their paper seeming boy. So, who is the paper seeming boy? Paper seeming boy is the boy who is undernourished, and we can say he is malnourished also. And the stunted, unlucky hair of twisted bones, their weak body recite their father's gnarled disease. Actually, what is reciting father's gnarled disease? Gnarled means twisted, disease means some kind of illness. So, they have inherited disease from their parents. They have not inherited some property, and instead of it, they have inherited disease from their parents. And these children, they just show up all these things, what they have inherited from their parents. In spite of despair and disease pervading the lines of the slum children, they are not devoid of hope. Give an example. So, the burden of poverty and disease crushes the bodies of these slum children, but not their souls. They still have dreams. Even their foggy future has not crushed all their hopes. They dream of open seas, green fields, and about the games that a squirrel plays in the tree room. So, children, children, they have dreamy eyes. It doesn't matter that the child is of a poor or a rich man. If he or she is a child, then definitely the child is a dreamer, because he has not filled colors on the canvas of his or her life. So the children are always dreaming, but only few are there who fulfill their dreams. And we should basically, patch up this difference. Okay, how does Stephen Spender picturize the condition of the slum children? So Stephen Spender uses contrasting images in the poem by picturizing the conditions of the slum children by, for example, a narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of words. The first line presents the dark, narrow, cramped holes and lanes closed in by the bluish green sky. The second line presents a world of beauty, prosperity, progress, well-being, and openness. Next question, children. What is the theme of the poem Elementary School Classroom in a Slum? And how has it been presented? So, in this poem, Stephen Spender deals with the theme of social injustice and class inequalities. And children, he presents the theme by taking two different and incompatible worlds, that is the world of the rich and the world of the slum children. And we should try to bridge or gap this disparity. What message does Stephen Spender convey through the poem Elementary School Classroom in a Slum, and what solution does he offer? So Stephen Spender conveys the message of social injustice, social justice and class equalities by presenting two contrasting and incompatible worlds. He provides a way out. That is, for achieving any significant progress and development, the gap between the two worlds must be abridged. And this can be done only by breaking the barriers that bind the slum children in dark, narrow, cramped holes and lanes. Let them be made mentally and physically free to lead happy lives. Only then art, culture, and literature will have relevance for them. Next question, children. Who award the world its world and how? And what does this world contain? Children, the conquerors and the dictators change the map of the world according to their whims and fancies. They change the boundaries of various nations and they shape the map. Their fair map is of a beautiful world full of domes, bells, and flowers, rivers, capes, and stars. Next question. The poet says, and yet for these children, these windows, not their map, their world. Which world do these children belong to? Which world is inaccessible to them? So the world of stinking slum is the world that belongs to these poverty-stricken and ill-fed, undernourished children. The narrow lanes and dark, cramped holes or hovels make their world. The world of domes, bells, and flowers meant for the rich is inaccessible to them. They can only dream of rivers, cape, and stars. Okay, next question, children. Which image of slums in the third stanza presents the picture of social disparity, injustice, and class inequalities? The slum dwellers slowly turn in their cramped holes from birth to death. That means from their birth to the death. These children live in slum. And they live from fog to endless nights. Their surroundings are slag heaps. Their children wear skins peeped through by bones. Their spectacles are like bottle bits on stones. The image that sums up their harsh existence reads, all of their time and space are foggy slum. Next question, children. So blot their maps with slums as big as domes, says Spender. What does the poet want to convey? Children, the poet noticed that the creation of two different worlds, dirty slum and narrow lanes and crammed houses, virtual hells. Then there are islands of prosperity and beauty where the rich and powerful dwell. The poet protests against the disparity between the lives of the people in these two worlds. He warns that the poor should enjoy social equality and justice. The fair of the world should have plots of slums as big as dome. The gap must be reduced. Next question, children. The Stephen Spender, while writing about an elementary classroom in a slum, questions the values of education in such a milieu, suggesting that the maps of the world and good literature may raise hopes and aspirations which will never be fulfilled. Yet the poem offers a solution. What is it? Children, some children are being imparted education in a room whose walls are of white in color but are decorated with the pictures of Shakespeare, buildings with domes, world maps, and beautiful valleys. So the maps of the world and good literature may raise hopes and aspirations. They may try to steal slightly from their milieu, but it's quite unlikely that these children will not be able to achieve what they want. Yet still, the poet hopes that in future the government, the inspectors, the visitors, they will visit there and solve the problem of these children. So children, that's all in this video for today. Thank you for watching.